It's Tuesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Elijah, Nima, Akasha, Zabiri in the building.
I was as excited as...
How it happen now?
I'm just grateful to God. I have seen something.
Oh.
I'm thanking God.
Oh.
Grateful.
I swear.
I have a, what's it called? Compulsory conference today. Amaka would understand.
Compulsory conference?
Yeah. The part of a litigation, the court compels us to at some point meet. Yes. I usually show up at those, but my partner does the court's appearances. So I'm going to show up today.
I like that.
Yeah. Later today, that's what we are doing.
That's good. Mariam, how are you?
Mariam is fine as usual, but really nothing happened. I think I lead a boring life, don't you think? Because I don't have like anything, it's just the regular, you go home, you read, you study, what? You come to your view. Well, I do a lot of things that I just feel that, I don't think you people might find interesting for me to share, but, you know.
Just keep at it.
Yeah, but I'm good. I'm good. And then there are a couple of exciting things that will be happening soon that I'll be able to share when it happens. So yeah.
Oh,
so
fantastic. We love
It's working.
We love this kind of really.
I can see it.
The way I love you. I will tell you later.
I'm fine. I'm still reeling from the shrine experience. I had such an amazing time.
A celebration.
Yes, a celebration. Sorry, a celebration. Oh, I'm so sorry about that.
I know it's at the shrine, but
yes.
Play down the shrine part and elevate the energy.
And you know, lots of artists, performances. You know, the energy, the vibrancy. Like
first time?
Yeah, my first time, and I would definitely go again. So kudos to them. And then I want to use the opportunity to do a shout out to my mechanic, David. Like, he's such an amazing human being. I didn't know that they were still honest people. Like you say, madam, I'm not going to charge you for something if there's nothing wrong with your car. There's nothing.
He said that?
Yeah, he now said, oh, let me give you my own battery. You can use it to test run. Maybe it's the battery issue. Like, I'm not going to charge you. Like, I didn't know that they were still great people. I've been using it for years. So, David, thank you so much. I appreciate
thank you, David.
Thank
David. Oh, that's so sweet. Well, for me, I'm fine. It's Tuesday.
And he looked beautiful in green.
Thank you. It's just one of those calm days for me. I'm grateful to God, you know. I'm grateful to God for inner strength, you know. I'm just thankful to God. I'm grateful. God is amazing.
I know.
Let's go on a short break now. When we come back, we'll look at the front pages of the newspaper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So I just received a message from my auntie Kofo Ogala. She sent me a message. I just came back to the country after 5 months of jack buying. Please greet the beautiful ladies on the show for me. So I said 5 months of jack buying.
Hi, Auntie Kofo. 5 months is not jack buying.
Yeah, exactly.
5 months is holiday.
Exactly. Let's start with the nation. NNPCL, Dangote Refinery fails to meet 1.06 billion litres supply. While Air Peace is yet to secure Heathrow slot, justices should be shielded from manipulation, says Wike. Najomo's transformative leadership in NCAA. Student loan now fund offers additional 92 billion naira. And telcos to suspend services over 50 billion naira USD debts. Okay, which story are we starting with?
That's the one. So if, some telcos, I don't want to mention brand, but there's this 50 billion naira due to the telcos, either from the banks or CBN. And I'm hoping that the CBN governor would now accede to their request and pay this loan, because they say that as it goes now, they will have to, subject to operators' guide, suspend the regulatory approval that allows the banks to use them for those services. The Oga Patapata of one of these telcos was saying, he says the entire industry is in a dire situation. This is a loss-making because of the devaluation of the naira. Fundamental needs to change. Tariffs have to change. Adding that inflation has continued to go up and affecting the prices of commodities, including foodstuffs. And I'm thinking in my mind, if this Oga, do I look at him like a Dangote is in that circle, he's talking like this. He said, complete deregulation of the downstream oil sector has seen the pump price of petrol go to 1,000 naira in the country. Similarly, electricity tariff has kissed the skies with the removal of electricity subsidy and the grouping of customers into band. Oga Patapata of one of these major telcos that I'm refusing to mention sat at an event at the Pan-Atlantic University. The Pan-Atlantic University at Lekki, and he was talking about the economy like this. Yasikira, Olorun ma gba wa. Yashukura, wherever you people are in the market, it's God that will save us.
Yes, I have, so there's controversy over the supply of petrol from Dangote refinery to NNPCL. They said the thing came to a head yesterday. NNPCL said that the refinery has been unable to meet the supply request. It says that the NNPCL requested for 1.65 billion liters between September 15th and October 20. And Dangote refinery supplied 317 million liters. They said that so they said that the refinery has just been able to supply 32% of the expected volume. The refinery, as we remember, when it was rolled, when they rolled out petroleum products, it was supposed to be NNPCL being the major or the only off-takers. But as we've heard that because they can't meet up supply, we have like other marketers who can now make direct purchases by themselves. But it just seems that, that's where we are. They're just giving us like a breakdown how much NNPCL had claimed to have bought the products from them before, which was, I think they put it at 898. We know that Dangote disputed that. Then later they put it at 977. Dangote disputed that. So that's on one side. Now there's a conversation about a court case. And I think in response to that, Dangote Refinery said that he had no new court case against NNPCL or any other stakeholders. He says, in fact, that it's old news, that so many things have overtaken that, that the conversation for Naira for crude has overtaken it, and that, it's old news, that the matter, that nothing, they don't have anything in court right now, except for when the matter will come up in 2025, that everything has been sorted between them and their stakeholders.
Okay, so I have the Now Fund, the good news. The managing director of Nigerian Education Loan Fund, Mr. Sawyer, has said that the fund is set to disburse an additional 92 billion naira to deserving students across tertiary institutions, public tertiary institutions. He's saying that they're just restricting this to the public tertiary institutions for now, but that sometime in the future, hopefully, that they can extend it to private institutions. And he said the reason why is because that the public tertiary institutions, usually their school fees, depending on the courses, ranges between 46,000 naira to 150,000 naira, as opposed to private institutions, which runs in millions. So because the funds that they have is limited, they won't be able to handle private sectors for now because they want to be able to reach as many students as possible. Yeah, he also said that that there won't be any there won't be any boycotting because there's no human interfacing with their system, right? No human has access to the system. As far as you put in your BVN, you put in your NIN, you put in your matriculation number, your name, and then they cross-reference it with what the institution has sent, then they can pay you. but they're really trying. They know that with every system that they can be hacking or hijacking. So they're trying to do everything within their power to make sure that doesn't happen. And that's why they're not rushing to pay funds or to pay out money. They're taking their time so that they won't get overwhelmed with everything happening.
All right, so I have the stories on the judiciary. So these are the best times for judicial officers as the federal government yesterday laid the foundation for the construction of 40 housing units in Abuja. The Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, was speaking yesterday during the SOD for the new houses in Katankwe district of the FCT, said that the quarters will contain 40 houses for different categories of judges and have a completion time for 15 months. It says that he was expressing the president's approval and saying that the president was really interested in improving the living conditions of our judiciary, and keeping them in that area would restrict them from manipulation and interference. So it was important for them to get those justice quarters quickly. I know we have a few in Lagos, but I guess it was really important to have that in Abuja. So I'm really happy for that. That's good news. Moving on now to The Punch. Marketers differ as Dangote sues NNPCL and 5 others. Immigration detains Bobrisky after Semeboda arrest. Seme, how? EFCC slams fresh 14 charges against ex-Kwara governor, ex-commissioner. Taj Bank grows shareholders' fund by 960%. Suspense as Supreme Court rules on 16 governors' suit against EFCC today. Government not serious on Lagos-Calabar highway section in Ondo, says Labour Party. FG loses 13 trillion to forex subsidies, says World Bank. And 2027 pro-Wike PDP pig weeks come north for Makinde's running mate. Okay, which story?
Bobrisky. So I don't understand what immigration say, but let me quote.
I'm sorry. Is Governor Makinde running for president?
Makinde. No.
I said pro-Wike PDP big weeks come north for Makinde's running mate. Oh. For the governorship, I'm just sorry. Just my brain just for a second. When I heard Wike,
yes,
I'm thinking, okay,
national.
president, go ahead.
According to the PRO of the Immigration Service, Mr. Kenneth Udo, he said that the Immigration Service wishes to inform the public that Okuneye Idris is a person of interest and over recent issues of public concern. So the statement he titled the Nigeria Immigration Service intercepts Idris Okuneye Bobrisky at Semeboda attempting to flee the country, and he says that in keeping with its commitment to securing the borders, the NIS intercepted Idris Okuneye, otherwise known as Bobrisky, at the Semeboda over an attempt to exit the country. The way he's couched, I think Bobrisky has a fundamental rights procedure. His lawyers should cook it up fast against the government.
He's allowed to leave the country?
Of course he's allowed to move because it's freedom. So a probe is different from a court process
order.
itself, a court order. So for you to just intercept and is a fundamental right.
Infringement of his rights.
Liberty and
we know
freedom.
If in course of the investigation, we don't have more information. Maybe they told him that he not leave the country.
Okay, this is not a law course. Please let us go on a short break.
You know we have all watched law. We have
but you see,
let's go on a short break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
TVC Communications, Nigeria's leading independent broadcast company, has been officially designated as a great place to work. Over the past few years, we have transformed our workplace into one which is respectful, caring, rewarding, and provides great benefits to all our 500 employees. We thank our team for giving us the chance to show that partnership between employer and employee really works. TVC Communications, officially designated as a great place to work, and now the only broadcasting and media company, not just in Nigeria, but throughout continental Africa, to be fully certified. TVC Communications, a great Nigerian company, a great Nigerian place to work.
you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regular.
So let me go and look for my jam results. So
my 280 was 320. I suppose don't be one medical.
At this point, I contest my jam results.
I want to close the show.
I can go. I can.
Okay, that's all we can take. Ejeki, close the show, Fadala.
Ladies and gentlemen, number 1, Unavailable by Davido featuring Musa Keys.
We also have today's chef special.
Thanks for staying with us.
Yeah.
Continue with the punch.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So the federal government has incurred a significant loss of 13.2 trillion in foregone revenue as a direct consequence of the implementation of its foreign exchange subsidy policy between 2021 and 2023, according to the World Bank. They said government lost 2 trillion in 2021, 6.2 trillion naira in 2022 and 5 trillion naira in 2023. They said the amount of foregone in revenue was due to its insistence on regulating the value of naira against the dollar in the official exchange market, but allowing a fair market value price at the parallel market. They said the subsidy designed to stabilize the currency and support certain sectors ultimately led to significant reductions in the government's revenue streams during this period. We had the Minister of Finance last week, Thursday, was saying this at the launch of the World Bank Nigeria Development Update document, and he announced that the termination of fuel and foreign exchange subsidies, marking the end of the long-debated policy, that these subsidies had drained the country's economy and will no longer be implemented by the government. Fuel and foreign subsidies are extinguished, as he emphasized the financial strain of these policies on the nation. And he maintained that Nigeria's subsidy on petrol, foreign exchange spending for decades, consistently allocating a significant portion of its revenue to cushion the economic effects, which are largely unknown. And, you know, this, especially, they talked about this subsidy actually benefited certain group of people at the expense of the entire country. But we have World Bank that highlighted that the government terminated the foreign exchange subsidy in February 2024, which is contrary to the policy announcement that was made by Central Bank in 2023. So the subsidy, you know, every time we talk about the subsidy, we always argue for and against, and this is what they're saying, how much we have lost, you know, between 2021 and 2023 because of subsidy. And it means invariably that by stopping the subsidy, we are earning this money back. And the next conversation is, now this money is that we're earning back, where are we putting it to?
Okay, so I have the update from the case of the EFCC and the governors. So the governors had taken the EFCC to court, and we're waiting today, following the suit filed by 19 state governors contesting the constitutionality of the laws that establish the EFCC is set to rule today at the Supreme Court. So the governors are with 19 governors, and their case is held at the United Nations Convention Against Corruption that was reduced to the EFCC Establishment Act. And in enacting that law, they didn't go to the various state House of Assemblies to get an approval of that law before it was then passed in the National Assembly. So that, therefore, saying that the establishment of the EFCC is unconstitutional. So they've taken the case to court, and they're hoping to get a ruling today from the Supreme Court. That's the apex court. So based on whatever the Supreme Court says today, we'll now know the legality of EFCC, the establishment of EFCC or not.
Okay, so I have the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on Monday that they filed a 14 fresh charges of 5.78 billion naira alleged fraud against the former Kwara State Governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed before a Kwara State High Court. Also joining the charges is Mr. Banu, who was the former Commissioner for Finance. Both of them were charged for alleged diversion and misappropriation of public funds, which were meant for execution of projects within and security within the state. This rearrangement of the former governor and his former finance commissioner was due to the fact that the case was due to the withdrawal of the case last week from the Federal High Court in Lorraine, where because the former trial judge, Justice Anyadike, was transferred to another division. And when they were first arraigned, they were arraigned on 12-count charges. But now they're coming up on 14-count charges, which the ex-governor appeared in all of them. But the former commissioner for finance did not appear in one, in count 7, which had to do with the fact that the ex-governor was accused of failure to fill the access declaration form offered to him by officers of the EFCC upon his arrest. Yes.
Okay. Vanguard, it's treasonable to call for military coup, says the defense headquarters. FG to increase oil production by 1 million barrels per day in 24 months. Ministers jittery over cabinet reshuffle. Why Air Peace was denied access to Heathrow Airport, says UK. PDP crisis, reconciliation committee to brief National Working Committee today. And why we arrested Bobrisky. Okay, which story?
Take the sports news.
Which sports? AFCON fiasco. Tomorrow's decision lay for Nigeria and Libya.
Thank you.
Oh, where are they going to? Where are we? Where are we now?
Libya Football Federation.
Okay.
Libya Football Federation over a Zoom meeting. We have 2 of directors from the Nigerian Football Federation that will be representing us on the Zoom. And according to
they can talk.
According to the Director of Communications, the NFF, Ademola Olajire, he says that they are very ready. Their director legal and assistant director protocol will be live on the Zoom with CAF representative. Now, CAF is investigating the maltreatment and the hostage taking of the Nigerian Super Eagles at the Abrak airport. And Libya is asking CAF to extend this investigation to the event that happened in the first leg that they played in Nigeria. They are insisting that the NFF abandoned them at the airport.
Okay, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So I have the defense headquarters yesterday described calls for military coup in the country treasonable, and warning all those behind it to desist from this. If we recall, protesters in some parts of the country over the weekend were seen in a viral video calling on the military to take over power following the present hardship facing Nigerians, which they blamed on the federal government's twin policies of petrol subsidy removal and the devaluation of the naira. And they said, we want the army to take over Nigeria, we want the military to take over Nigeria, you know, that's what they were saying. So the Director of Defense Information, Brigadier General Tukur Gusau, has warned that the armed forces of Nigeria is steadfastly committed to the preservation and advancement of our democracy and are loyal to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. The military remains focused on achieving its statutory responsibilities of protecting the nation's integrity. The relative peace being enjoyed today is a direct result of the president's support for the military and the dedication of the AFN's leadership. And he says that, you know, everyone we should be careful of these utterances.
Okay. Another story about that?
So the UK government has justified the reasons why the Nigerian flag carrier Air Peace was denied access to Heathrow Airport, saying the airline sent late requests for slots for summer season of 2024 and also the winter season for 2024/2025. The Secretary of State for Transport, Louise Haig, in a letter to the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Mr. Festus Keyamo, because Mr. Festus Keyamo had written a letter to them requesting them that they should allow Air Peace to fly from Heathrow instead of Gatwick Airport. So he said that that it had to do with the slots, that refusal had to do with the slots coordination process for that summer. He said that he highlighted ways through which Air Peace could secure slots at the Heathrow Airport, saying that they have 3 options, including joining the wait list, choosing to operate at another airport, which right now Air Peace is operating via Gatwick Airport, and that they can acquire slots through slot trading and commercial arrangements with other carriers. Because he said that for summer 2024, that they had a total of 580 slots available, given the capacity and capacity constraints, historical rights, and the growth ambitions of all carriers, and that the number of slots requested reached 319, over 319, and that they couldn't fulfill that, so that they have over 29,000 slots on waiting list, so airpeace can join.
Okay. Final paper, Nigerian Tribune. PDP carpets Ganduje over threat to capture Ondo. Security agents foil kidnap attempt on the Tribune, Abuja Bureau Chief's family. That's sad.
Yeah.
Flood submerges over 25 communities in Edo. WHO declares Egypt malaria-free. Will insulate judiciary for manipulation, says Wike. And alleged $6 billion Mambila power plant fraud. Agunloye kicks against EFCC's amended charge.
Yeah, I took the Edo State story. They said no fewer than 25 communities living along the bank of the River Niger have been submerged in flood in Edo State. This is following the release of water from Lagdo Dam in Cameroon. The local government areas on the bank of the rivers have been affected. The local governments that have been affected are Esako East, Esako Central, and Esan South East. People, who were speaking to reporters, they were talking. First of all, governments, they've set up like relief materials and they're distributing to these 25 communities. But then, they were talking to people who were like in the internally displaced areas that had been put for displaced persons. And many people were saying, see, our communities were submerged, our farmlands, we couldn't salvage anything. We had to leave these places. And local governments also asking for government backing, as they attend to those who were affected by this flood.
Okay, so a military anti-kidnapping squad early Monday morning successfully thwarted an attempt to kidnap the family of Dr. Usiwe, the Abuja Bureau Chief of the Nigerian Tribune. They said that the incident happened by Kurape Road in Kashi in Abuja, and it happened around 12 midnight. One of the assailants had shot one of the neighborhood vigilante, and another one climbed over the perimeter fence and opened up the gates for the others to come in. And when they came in, they started throwing stones and rocks, and the anti-squad team were alerted. They arrived within minutes, and by the time they got there, the assailants, they opened up fire and injured three of the soldiers. But, the anti-squad team, they returned fire, which made them to take off, to flee. So, fortunately, Dr. Osibe was not home, but unfortunately, his wife and kids, they were home, and they were shaken by this whole thing. And they said report on this will unveil shortly, and they will let us know what's going on.
So there was a statement that was credited to the chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Dr. Umar Ganduje, that was saying that they will capture, according to the remarks, but according to the remarks that was said, he said that Ganduje's remarks suggesting that APC aims to capture the Osun State, Ondo State, in the coming elections, that was totally reckless and irresponsible. This is according to Debo Ologunagba, who is the spokesperson, the publicity secretary for the PDP. He was saying it was quite reckless for him and irresponsible to say that, arguing that it reveals a troubling desire for a totalitarian control in Nigeria's political landscape. He also highlighted that the term capture, as defined in the dictionary, implies taking by force or strategy, which he equated to treating the people like prisoners of war. So he needs to be very careful in that. Unfortunately, that's all we can take on front page review.
That's a very good story.
Let me give you 30 seconds. So yeah, go ahead.
New Telegraph. So
New Telegraph. What happened?
The Attorney General of Lagos is proposing a new administration of civil justice law of Lagos State. One of the benefits of this law is a bill right now before the House of Assembly. One of the benefits of it, if it's passed into law, is to ensure that matters do not extend beyond
2 years, months.
Wow. And one of the things where they plague us, they explain to clients, say, Judge, have gone on break. Judge will say to this morning, Shadows Magistrate, they'll be getting new dates, and they'll be giving you dates of months.
And when justice is delayed, it's like denied.
Yes.
So
I have a client now, we are starting afresh. afresh. We've gone before 3
Can be
justices.
very demoralizing.
Before the third one, we're starting afresh, and we're at almost at closing. We're at written and closing address before the first judge.
Unfortunately, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, we want our next segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
TVC Communications, Nigeria's leading independent broadcast company, has been officially designated as a great place to work. Over the past 3 years, we have transformed our workplace into one which is respectful, caring, rewarding, and provides great benefits to all our 500 employees. We thank our team for giving us the chance to show that partnership between employer and employee really works. TVC Communications, officially designated as a great place to work, and now the only broadcasting and media company not just in Nigeria but throughout continental Africa to be fully certified. TVC Communications, a great Nigerian company, a great Nigerian place to work.
Do you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
TVC Communications, Nigeria's leading independent broadcast company, has been officially designated as a great place to work. Over the past 3 years, we have transformed our workplace into one which is respectful, caring, rewarding, and provides great benefits to all our 500 employees. We thank our team for giving us the chance to show that partnership between employer and employee really works. TVC Communications, officially designated as a great place to work, and now the only broadcasting and media company not just in Nigeria but throughout continental Africa to be fully certified. TVC Communications, a great Nigerian company, a great Nigerian place to work.
Do you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regulars.
So let me go and look for my jammies. Also,
My 280 was 320. I suppose don't be one medical.
at this point, I contest my jammies.
I want to close the show.
I can go. I can.
That's
I can
all
leave
we can
Nigeria,
take.
but I choose to
Ejeki,
stay.
close the show, you father. Thanks for staying with us. So Nigeria has the second highest estimated maternal deaths globally and accounts for one of the highest neonatal mortality rates in Africa. Joining us on the show is the Group Head Medical Operations, Bastion Health, Dr. Akinkunmi Ilori. He will be speaking on how Bastion HMO supports mental and child health. Welcome to the show, sir.
Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you.
So let's start with the HMO. Why is it so focused on maternal and child care health?
Thank you very much. So we understand that maternal health is a very interesting and delicate topic, actually, especially in this part of the world where we have a lot of maternal deaths. You know, you've mentioned those figures right now. So as at 2022, we had about 1,000 per every 100,000 deaths maternally, which is high, yes. I mean, the global average is about 300 by 100,000 live births. So seeing that this part of the world, Nigeria and most of sub-Saharan Africa, has about 3 to 5 times that. So it's very, very important that women all around the world, not just in Africa, you know, have access to affordable and, of course, accessible maternal health care.
Okay. Okay.
What would you say are the factors that are affecting the numbers that we have in Africa, and particularly in Nigeria?
Yes, so in terms of infrastructure, the infrastructure is just not there. We don't have what it takes. We don't have the equipment. You know, we don't have the personnel. We understand doctors in Nigeria. You know, everybody's going abroad now for better remuneration, better lifestyle, and all that. So it's important that we're able to bridge that gap. So the major problem is we don't have enough personnel in this part of the world. We don't have the equipment, and of course, even in terms of enlightenment, in terms of knowledge of the people. You know, you talk about low-income groups, vulnerable groups. They don't have that knowledge to be able to know what they need to access this kind of healthcare. So those are major factors that hinder people from getting the kind of care that they actually need.
Yeah, because most times you hear about mothers after having babies, you know, they are depressed or they can't connect with the kids. So do you focus on that, on the mental state of postpartum stress for the mothers, and then mothers that are not able to have that connection with their children after they've birthed the child?
Yes, yes. So we focus on the whole scope, you know, starting from prenatal, starting from when the woman goes into labor, delivery, and of course, very important, the mental aspect of it all, postnatal. So we focus on all these things because we understand that it is a spectrum. You know, it is not something that just focus on the woman. Okay, after you give birth, we leave you alone. We don't care anymore. So we have to make sure that even till 6 months, 1 year after the woman has given birth, you know, she needs regular follow-up to ensure that everything goes absolutely well.
Yes. As an HMO, does your cover extend to, you know, private hospitals, and how the fees vary? Because, you know, it's a different fee if you were taking your treatment at the public hospital, and some hospitals vary, and the conditions of your pregnancy also is peculiar per person. So how does your HMO provide the cover?
Yes, so one of the advantages of being with Bastion HMO is that we have an extensive network of hospitals, both private hospitals and government hospitals. So you are free to have access to care in any of those hospitals. And we know that in terms of pregnancy, in terms of antenatal, you know, women can be very attached to certain hospitals, to certain doctors, maybe because of, you know, previous experience with these doctors and these hospitals. So it's important that we do not cut that attachment. So we have a whole extensive network of healthcare providers, maternal healthcare providers. And in terms of pricing, of course, it's important that the pricing, of course, is affordable. So in terms of health insurance, you know, the enrollee, as we call them, people who are under Bastion are called enrollees, they do not have to pay anything most of the time. Okay. You know, most of the time, all the antenatal care, the postnatal care is covered by the HMO. So at least that comfort is there. You know, they don't have to go through further extent financial hardship to be able to cover those costs, and minimal cost at all times with affordable
So what
healthcare.
if, you know, some pregnancies require extensive care?
Yes.
Bed rest, some, you know, preeclampsia requires some form of surgery and monitoring, and increases the fees.
Yes.
Is that a fixed fee, or, you know, you can always, it's always wide enough for anything, any unforeseen?
No, so under the HMO, there are different plans that have different benefits and different coverage. So depending on the plan you buy, but even at the most minimal level, of your plan, you still have access to antenatal care with all the benefits that come with that. You have access to delivery, whether normal delivery or cesarean section, because we understand that there are actually some high-risk pregnancies that would need cesarean section, even if it wasn't planned. You know, you have elective cesarean section, you have the one that needs to be done immediately, emergency.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you might need to go in for an emergency CS. That is covered. We will not say because you're on the lowest plan, you will not have a cesarean section when you need to be. Our aim is to save lives and to give you the best care possible at any point in time.
So does the lower level plan, does it cover the baby checks after the baby has been born, vaccinations, or postnatal and vaccinations for kids, or does this thing need to, do you need to still come up the ladder to be able to have that access?
No, not at all. Even at the lowest level, you have access to all the vaccinations. You know, you have the NPI, Nigeria Program on Immunization, National Program on Immunization, which has the standard immunizations that every normal baby should have at any point in time. Of course, there are others that you may not get, but those ones are not the key ones that you have to get. You know, but even at that, we make sure that you get the key ones that you need at every point in time.
Okay, so, you know, with maternal care, sometimes of course, it starts sometimes even from the family planning stage, you know, and many people, you know, you mentioned that there's a lack of education. Many people don't even know what they need to use, what options are available. Yes. Is your HMO able to provide people with the education and also the options that they need at that stage?
Of course, we do that at every level. We do health talks, you know, enlightenment programs, you know, campaign shows and all that. We do that at every level, even for males, females, non-pregnant people. You know, even at a young age, you know, we start young to ensure that that knowledge has already been embedded in that person, even at a young. We don't wait till someone is of childbearing age before we start giving those kind of, you know, lessons or information. You know, it's important that they are faced at every point in time so that they are ready with that information. So at every aspect of their lives, we ensure that that knowledge is. So
in picking an HMO, many people always like to look for a track record. How long have they been around? Who uses them? I mean, how kind of clientele do they have? You know, so tell us a bit about Bastion HMO and why we should trust you to. Okay.
Yes, so Bastion HMO is about 3 years old now.
3 years.
Yes, started operations in about 2021. And I mean, in this short space of time, I think our services have been known to be one of the best in the industry. You know, from our management staff, management board, you know, have people who have pedigree in greater, even bigger health insurance spaces like Axamansad and the likes. So we have that within our board. And what we've done concerning our extensive network of providers, as I said, we have over 2,000 providers nationwide, which are the hospitals. When I say providers, I mean the hospitals, diagnostic centers, pharmacies, you know, optical and dental centers as well, all over the country. You know, we're in about 7 regions in the country at the moment, and we'll continue to extend and expand. You know, in terms of technology as well, we leverage technology as much as possible. You know, in terms of telemedicine, talk about telemedicine. A lot of people find it hard to go to hospitals these days. We understand the waiting periods in the hospital, you know, the overcrowding and all that. So from the comfort of your home, you can actually have access to speak to a medical practitioner and even have medications prescribed to you, and you can get those medications delivered to you as well. So in terms of technology, we are trying to ensure that we bring comfort to people. We say at Bastion Health that we are giving you health at your place, at your pace, and to be able to, you know, we don't rush you, and we want you to be comfortable when you access care with us. So
is there a way Nigerians can reach you?
Yes, of course. We are available on all the social media platforms, you know, on Instagram as Bastion HMO, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and of course 0800 Bastion as well. Our contact center is open 24/7. You can always reach out to us. And on the mobile app, I must speak about that. We have a mobile app. Just go to the Play Store or App Store and search Bastion mobile app. You have access to see our list of providers.
Oh, fantastic.
You can register on the mobile app and be able to see your benefits and your limits as well.
Okay. Thank you very much. Pleasure. Thank you so much for wishing you all the best.
My pleasure.
Let's go on a short break now. When we come back, we continue with the show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
TVC Communications, Nigeria's leading independent broadcast company, has been officially designated as a great place to work. Over the past few years, we have transformed our workplace into one which is respectful, caring, rewarding, and provides great benefits to all our 500 employees. We thank our team for giving us the chance to show that partnership between employer and employee really works. TVC Communications, officially designated as a great place to work, and now the only broadcasting and media company, not just in Nigeria, but throughout continental Africa, to be fully certified. TVC Communications, a great Nigerian company, a great Nigerian place to work.
Do you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regulars.
So let me go and look for my jam results. So
My 280 was 320. I suppose don't be one medical.
at this point, I contest my jam results.
I want to close the show.
I can go. I can.
Okay, that's all we
I
can
but
take.
I choose to
Ejek,
stay.
close the show, Father.
Ladies and gentlemen, number 1 unavailable by Davido featuring Musa Keys.
We also have today's chef special.
Yo, shine, 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 shiny, yeah. Say recap done, and it's time for number 1 on the countdown. One of Nigeria's hottest artists right now. His name is Rema, and this one is called Charm. Kick it.
Another.
For dessert and a bit of nightcap, we have the nighttime and online specials.
I want to start the gym, yeah? But do you know one thing that's actually keeping me back?
You should start the gym to get fat. Cricket.
She says she does pole dancing to empower women.
What's the difference? There's a difference.
That's what I'm saying. So pole dancer,
you're already almost naked.
You're already almost naked.
No, it's the empowerment for me.
Sex can make a relationship better.
No.
Sex can never be overrated.
It is needed.
Especially when it's good sex too. Almost every guy has been with somebody's girlfriend.
But they are for all of us now.
That's why you're still single.
I would not agree or disagree with that because I don't want to get into trouble. I have a home to go to.
Your next question.
Oh, you ready to fail?
Who is the better? You see us. What is his name?
That woman.
Bam! Bam!
Yeah, today we'll go here.
Hey!
Let's catch up now.
I'm sure we've been able to satisfy your cravings, yeah? Stay tuned to TVC Entertainment for Pure Entertainment.
TVC Communications, Nigeria's leading independent broadcast.
Thanks for staying with us. So International Stuttering Awareness Day is a global health care event celebrated on the 22nd of October every single year to spread awareness about the speech disorder characterized by disruptions in fluency, known as stuttering or stammering. According to reports, stuttering occurs through involuntary word repetition and temporary challenges in producing sounds or words. Joining us on the show is a lawyer, book editor, and a person who stutters, Omobolanle Ayotade Alade. Welcome to the show. Good to have you on. So to join the conversation, many of us have children, loved ones who stutter, and they find it very difficult to be confident. You know, it kind of takes away their self-confidence. So it's important for us to learn on how to manage our youngsters when they're in this situation and see what we can do to help them to live better, more fulfilled lives. So you can join the conversation 081-0764-1679-090-2416-3440. You can also send us messages on Twitter and on YouTube. So welcome again, Ombalan, to our show.
Thanks for having me.
International World Stuttering Day. Tell us exactly why it was important for them to celebrate this day.
Okay, so today, which commemorates the International Stuttering Awareness Day, is globally recognized, and it's dedicated to demystify the misconceptions around stuttering, because there are so many myths around there, you know, as to the reason why people stutter. Some people feel it's due to fear and anxiety, although there's an underlying factor. Anxiety and fear can trigger stuttering, but it's not solely as a result of fear and anxiety. It's more like a communication disorder, like you have mentioned, and then it's also caused by excessive muscular movement, right, during speech mechanism that doesn't really affect other people with who speak fluently. So it's not because, and then most people also feel that it's because probably stutterers are not proficient in English mastery, because they don't want to breathe, or because they're not being calm intentionally, or because they need attention. It's an involuntary disorder, and it really affects people's economic and social life. Like you said, leads to self-esteem issue, leads to being withdrawn, right? Feeling rejected, right? And then just feeling like misunderstood, and not feeling as if they fit in. And sometimes it's also restricts people from the kind of profession they can go into. I recall when I just finished my LLB from the university, I assigned myself to a law firm as an intern. And while I was going through the library, I came across a book written by a retired honorable judge. So, and then I got to a chapter where it mentioned people who can go into the law profession, or who will thrive well in advocacy. And then one thing that shocked me was that it listed stutterers as part of those who would not thrive in advocacy. And that was even a time when, I was just about to go to law school, when I had all this confidence that I could really perform and all that. And that really dampened my mood. But I was not dissuaded anyway, because my dad had already gone ahead to pay for my tuition. So I didn't even have a choice than to, withdraw and all that. So, but that now kind of, affected me somehow, that I had that mindset right from law school that I was going to look for a firm that was basically into soliciting, where I would just draft more. Although that helped me in my creative writing that I kind of developed over the years. And also,
let me get a few more questions in for you.
Okay, so it's so funny, because like my immediate other brother, his birthday is even on Thursday.
All right.
Like, as in he used to stutter, and it's so funny that right now I don't even notice that anymore.
Right.
And I noticed when we were kids, when he would do that, and maybe people would question him or whatever, he would get like angry or want to hit out or lash out, right?
Yes.
But then I know that my mom used to like say, okay, you know what, when you have that bridge, just take a breather, like calm down and everything. So they also taught him to be confident that for the fact that you're at that point where you're out of breath or whatever, don't, it's okay.
Yes,
do you understand?
Okay.
It's okay to take a pause and stuff. So what really helped you? Because the way you sat down here, you've been talking, and you're not really taking a breather. So what has helped you to, get this good, to control it?
So what has helped me, first of all, I wasn't always like this. There was a time in my life that I couldn't speak for more than 2 minutes without having excessive speech blocks and all that. And then I'll be, first-tonguing every, word that comes out of my mouth and all that. But, thankfully, God led me to a community, although I joined that community solely for healing in some areas, but God also have it that one of the things that I came across first of all was healing and identity, because I felt that for me I had kind of had a kind of damaged identity about myself, that probably I wasn't good enough, that even sometimes before talking I already had say that fear, I already anticipate that anxiety that that I'm going to falter when I begin to talk and all that. So by the time I began to work on my mind, on self-development, work on my identity, because I feel the whole thing starts from the mind, because the mind is where the damage is really seen most of the time, and then that now comes up in displaying passive aggressive tendencies and all that. So so by the time I was able to deal with my mind and just get up my confidence that that I'm not my stutter, I can become whoever I want, I'm not all those labels that I've received past over the years. So that began to help me, and then the researching also and self-awareness, trying to know what this all entails. And then it's also that that we don't have enough Nigerians who kind of come up and talk about what they've gone through. I relied on people like Emily Blunt, the actress, who even till date, even though you don't really see her stuttering when she acts and all that. Yes. You see her still giving support to the American Stuttering Institute, going how to talk about how she was able to to overcome it.
I want to interrupt you because this is a very serious issue.
Right.
I'm guilty of it.
Okay.
But just listening to it, I have the other side of the family.
All right.
It's extreme stuttering, and the spectrum just reduces.
Yes.
With my kids. I do it because we all did it.
All right.
When my son can't pronounce his L to date, I'm like, which year you won't come? And if he says, "Mommy, look," and I hear "look," I will say it again.
All right.
That's the lowest spectrum that he has.
Okay.
How do you react to skit makers, comedians, Nigerians who find it funny?
Yeah, it's not a funny
this
issue.
Condition is, we all make a joke of it.
Yes, even President Trump, you recall when he joked about Joe Biden, because he also has a stutter and all. So that's part of why days like this are very important, for us to bring that, for us to talk about this. It is not something, because I grew up not really having people talk to me about it. We just, sweep it under the carpet, like it's something that you just deal with by yourself. So although I came from a family where I was loved and all that, and they loved me the best way, my dad also stutters, likewise my younger brother. Although my dad with age, he's been able to overcome, and he's been able to talk easily. But what I heard most of the time was that, don't worry, but it will go with time and all that. But that's not. Meanwhile, it's not one size fits all. For some people, they outgrow it, but for some other people, they live it all through their life. But they just need to the main thing is for people to just manage, how to begin to talk easily, look for what works best for you. And then for the comedians who make slurs, about people who stutter, well, I guess they have their own choice and all that, but it's for the stutterers to be able to build that confidence that what those people are saying, about them isn't their label. That is not who they are, right? So it's all about building self-awareness.
I'm so, thank you for being here. I'm so happy to have you. But I know really young children who are in school right now, and they're struggling with confidence and things like that. Even their parents are wondering what they can do to help them. Are there communities, organizations, or places even online that parents can go to seek practical, tangible help for their youngsters?
Yes. Now we have this speech pathology therapists. We have speech language pathologists or therapists. Although they are not kind of seen, you don't really see them. They don't really come out like that. Although I could be wrong, but all through the years I've been going to the internet for research. I only get to see foreign institutes, foreign, and that's also the reason why I decided to also, get up and tell myself that, that if no one is really getting up and standing up to, just be a voice for the voiceless, that I would, even though I for many years, I kind of battled with it that, that how would a lawyer, someone who is in a profession where eloquence, is really prized and all that, so that kind of drew me back.
I like to open our phone lines for Nigerians to come, because the truth is that, yes, we're celebrating the day, and today is the day to remember these kind of situations, but a lot of families are going through issues, and it's important for them to, and my own concern is that we don't really have the necessary tools to help parents. I don't think, I fear, and maybe you can help me dispel that, because I don't think we are equipped in this part of the world to help children. Because I know, for me, I stutter. I stutter, and my stuttering didn't come out until after my accident. I mean, yes, when I was a kid, I don't even remember stuttering as a child. But it was after I had some kind of thinking, after my accident, I realized that it was difficult for me to express my thoughts. And it took me a long time. Even till now, I still struggle. I still stutter. But I still find a way to manage it.
But what you just mentioned just struck me. My son, my daughter quickly lost hers. Their end is the last spectrum. So they are L's, they are F's, they have the factor.
Yes.
But their cousins, you see extreme difficulty expressing themselves. Now, with time, I noticed that they don't know that there's anything wrong. They're trying to talk to you, they're normal. It's you who is reacting. So I'm the one who does, want me walk. And he'll be like, I said, look, I said. So he'll get angry, trying to talk to you. So you are the one bringing. So while you're growing up, you probably stuttered, but it was just you making your conversations until people started to react to how you spoke. And then you noticed that something was...
So the reason why I wanted us to... I mean, I know you're here because you want to celebrate, but it's important for let's even converse about it. I have found it manage it, but I'm still struggling. Every single day is a struggle because I'm constantly writing. So you're a TV presenter.
Every day
you have to get yourself together. Thank God for a script. But if I don't have... Sorry?
I like to see it as every day you're winning.
Every day I'm winning, thank you. Because, you know, I tell myself, if I don't have a script sometimes, I'll get flustered. I have it in my head, but it just doesn't come out properly. So it's a struggle, and I think maybe something that we need to begin to see how we can help families to get through this. Let me take this call from James. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, James.
Good morning. I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I struggle also at stuttering. I was in the US when I was younger. As I went to a class in the US, I remember my mates went for summer holidays or camping. I went for therapy class. So when I came back to Nigeria, I find it very odd when people start to make fun of me and all that. Up to now, I still struggle with it. I just tuned in now, and I'm happy that I can see that there's a platform that people can actually overcome, probably maybe to get help or maybe talk better.
Okay, it's really hard to hear you. I want us to discuss it. How do you think? And this to all the ladies. How do you think we can help people? For me, whenever they call me for a speaking engagement, one of the silent fears is, Mariah, are you sure you want to go and speak? I mean, I really try to prepare myself. Sometimes I get it right. And there was a time that someone invited me many years ago to speak at LCCI. I can never forget it. I didn't know what to say. I had studied for it. I had planned. And it was in the early days of social media. And we just started with social media. I can't remember the guy. He used to come. He was a very regular on Your View. So he wanted me to be like a speaker at LCCI. I mean, and he went there and I planned for it. And when I saw the faces looking at me, expecting me to have these things, I was saying it, but I was stumbling on my words. I was just talking rubbish. And I knew I was talking rubbish. He was happy. He was like, thank you so very much for coming. I'm like, bro, please. So that is a very difficult, it's still an ongoing battle. And it's not because we don't have the content. So I'll ask you, like, how are you able to forgive yourself when you feel you mess up?
I love how you.
I think the first place to start, which I also stumbled upon, and which was also part of the breakthroughs I had in my stuttering journey, is being able to stand up and tell your audience that I'm a person with a stutter. I might sound incoherent in some areas, but trust me, you're going to understand. You're going to gain value from what I'm about to say, because there is power in vulnerability, like Brené Brown, said in her book and all that. So the reason why most of us struggle, and which I also do as well, because we all have our fluency periods. Sometimes where you talk fluently, but I've given testimonies in church, subtle testimonies that I've overcome this, and then 2 weeks down the lane, I just go back again. I'm just back to it again. So I guess being vulnerable and letting people know, not hiding it, because hiding gives this apprehension already. you put some pressure on yourself that, oh, I need to do this. Because most of the time, when you have that mindset that, oh, I can't afford to stutter here, that is when, you are most likely to do so. So by the time you are able to hone up and tell your audience, people would accept you the way you are, or people can be trained to even accept you the way you are, that, okay, this is a person with a stutter. There's nothing to be shameful about, which was why I also named my community Unashamed Stutterers. We don't have to be ashamed again. We don't have to stay in the dark again, hiding and making it look as if we have a disability. It's not.
I'll come to you, Mariam, in a second. Let me take Tunde from Magodo. Good morning, Tunde. You're live.
Ashamed stutter.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Something I think I can help, maybe the madam there can correct. If anyone with a stutter can find a quiet place and read out loud to himself, it helps. I don't think madam has said anything like that.
Okay. Yes.
For anyone that has a stutter, find a quiet place, read out loud to yourself. As time goes on, the stutter will reduce. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's a help. Because I was going to come to you to discuss how do we help parents. So that's a technique you can try. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So initially you were talking about myths that people have on why it happens, and you said it's not necessarily about anxiety and fear. So this is a physical thing that happens in the mind or in the brain.
Yeah, and it's hereditary, it's neurological, it's psychological. So there are different factors.
It's hereditary.
Sometimes it could also
so is it
be through trauma, like
Okay. So also trauma causes that. So for me now is if it's trauma related, if it's hereditary, what are there like medical? Is it medicines I'll talk about? So I understand there's therapy, but is there medicine also to help? Because you hear some people say, take your child to the hospital quickly, or why haven't you taken this child? Why haven't you taken this child to the hospital? Or people just feel that there must be something that has been done to this child for this child to stutter, this way. And then you hear some people say, because children tend to do it when you're in school, you hear you're in the same class with a child that stutters, and then your child comes home and is trying to sound like that. And you hear people say, if you keep doing that, you will get it. Could you help dispel some of these myths and how to help?
All right. So as of this moment, there's no pink pill that solves that eliminates stuttering. Yes. So the best way to go about it is for parents to just equip themselves, trying to learn a lot about it, and then there's no one size fits all to the remedy. Everyone has to just discover what works for them, and it's just by trying out and exposing oneself to knowledge as much as possible. For me, I was able to expose myself because I was just so curious, because I was just navigating this journey all by myself. But because of my super focus, because I also have this kind of I won't call it a gift. Sometimes it could work against people and all that. I have this super focus of focusing on things that I feel passionately about, and it was then that I realized that sometimes people sometimes feel that when they drink, it kind of douses it and all that. Some people go into smoking. In fact, when I was growing up, then I had someone who had this, who felt that he had already discovered a way out. He drank at one time, and throughout he stopped stuttering, right? And then he began to drink to the point that he now became an alcoholic, all in the bid of eliminating stuttering and all that. But the best thing that works is just therapy, right? Sometimes it could be self-therapy. Sometimes one could seek out this speech pathology, language pathologist, like I mentioned. They are out there, although so I guess if any of them are watching, this would be a time for them to just come out and begin to create enough awareness about what they can do to help, and all that. Then I think joining institutes or communities where because this foreign communities, I find out that most of the speech language pathologists are part of them. Some of them also go to study that course.
Let me pause you for a second, because I was talking about the speech pathologists, because sometimes we hear of speech pathologists. Some parents have tried to engage speech pathologists, and they still don't have the results. But I'll come to you in a second. Let me take Woli. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. You're live.
Good morning, everyone. Actually, stuttering has been the problem. I could collect when I was growing. I had to throw things off to
complete the statement. Sometimes I have to fast my leg on the floor. And sometimes what we normally experience in the society is that, they will tell it to your face that Akalulu, like trying to downgrade you when you're trying to, express yourself. And thank God, I think I've been able to, at least,
we can hear you.
And I think we need more awareness on this.
Yeah.
We need more awareness on this.
Absolutely.
And from what I've seen, it is hereditary. Like I have 3 or 4 of my siblings like that.
Yeah. So also, thank you very much, Woli. I mean, my brother, to start us, his spectrum is higher than mine. I mean, but we're used to it, Maybe I'm talking to you for the first time, you might notice it, but we're used to it. So
I know someone who was called to the bench recently. He's now a High Court judge. And when we were in school, he stuttered extremely all through.
Wow.
So we, as his friends and circle, just needed to be patient. No matter, we had a lot of arguments because it was an association, and we're all ex-co members.
Okay.
We had a lot of confrontations, but we learned that when we are confronting with this particular person, because he's extremely brilliant, he will bring knowledge to the table any day, anytime. So we had to respect that and learn to wait.
Yes.
So I really would like, to teach people, because from where I'm seeing it now, it's the recipients that worsens condition.
Exactly.
It's how your face turns, what you say that worsens the condition. The person can't have knowledge. He read so well. He had his PhD before he was called.
Wow.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
But reacting was what provoked. So we never reacted.
So I think like what you said, I like what you said about owning your vulnerabilities.
Yes.
And then also saying no to bullying in terms of educating people. Why am I saying that? When I talk about owning your vulnerabilities, I had a speaking engagement on Saturday, and before I started, I told him, I said, I speak very fast, right? And I have knowledge to give. So at any point in time, if you're not getting me, feel free to pause me. I always start with that, because I know that when that thing is in my head, I just go on. So it's still, so when you own your vulnerability, so if people, and then secondly, it starts with me, it starts with you. People educating people people to understand what's going on with some other person, to be empathetic, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, to be empathetic, to be patient with people, and not to bully people.
Yes.
Right? Because especially for kids, there's a lot of bullying that goes with stuttering.
Yes.
So it's on the parent. The onus is on the parents to understand, to learn, to educate themselves, to teach their children that when someone is trying to communicate or do something or whatever, be empathetic, be patient, wait for the person to, or you can always ask the person, can I do something? Are you okay?
Yes.
But come from that angle. If you come from that angle, you ease the person's anxiety and fear, and they will be able to best express themselves.
Yes.
That's what I think.
Yes.
All right, we're going to say something. So I think we're wrapping up with you. So tell us a bit about the theme for this year and what exactly is the focus, and how do we share more awareness?
All right. So the theme for this year is power of listening. So which was what you also pointed out and all that, power of listening, because listening does a lot. Now, for me, I'm also a beneficiary of a community where I was listened to, where I was cheered on, I was supported. And, all the chairs. In fact, some years down the lane, when I came out open to tell them that I stuttered and all that, people began to cheer me up, that don't worry, we have your back. In fact, they even made me a minister to preach, on the platform, just to encourage me to speak more and all that. And I'm more confident and all that. So now, you can imagine if, people who stutter have that, that constant environment of being in a place where people, not just only listen, but actively listen to them, where they show them, empathy, like you mentioned, compassion, and then also for parents, I think it's also, we shouldn't just leave it to these schools, because, part of my advocacy also is to go to schools, reach out to schools, teach the children about, to become friends with people with a stutter, how they can be friends with them. Then the teachers also, what they can do. Don't discriminate. Thank God for the discrimination law that we have, the act, the federal government act that we have on discrimination and all that. Because for stutterers, they usually face that in education and employment. Because you can imagine it. So what parents can do is also to talk to their words teachers, to let them know that, okay, my child has a stutter, and please, I want you to, be patient, give this child, enough time to talk, maybe during debate, during presentation, and all that, just to show empathy, and then give them room to express themselves, and then don't.
Thank you so much. I think we've learned quite a bit from you, and I think you coming here also helped me to realize that, listen, this is something I could actually also look into, because I know how traumatic I was when I realized I couldn't express myself. It took me years. I mean, I was talking normally. I was acting. I was giving plays before my accident when I was a kid. And now, after the accident, I realized that it was difficult for me to make some statements. So it took me a long time. I was, but I'm happy that there's a community available, and hopefully we can see, and also maybe something that we can all be part of and support those young, especially young children who are going through this.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Abumbola.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Let's go on a short break now. We'll come back and bring in, talk about Down syndrome. I think it's World Down Syndrome Day today. It's also important for us to discuss that. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned.
TVC Communications, Nigeria's leading independent broadcast company, has been officially designated as a great place to work. Over the past 3 years, we have transformed our workplace into one which is respectful, caring, rewarding, and provides great benefits to all our 500 employees. We thank our team for giving us the chance to show that partnership between employer and employee really works. TVC Communications, officially designated as a great place to work, and now the only broadcasting and media company, not just in Nigeria, but throughout continental Africa, to be fully certified. TVC Communications, a great Nigerian company, a great Nigerian place to work.
Do you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regulars.
So let me go and look for my jam results. So
My 280 was 320. I suppose don't be one medical.
At this point, I contest my jam results.
I want to close the show.
I can go. I can.
That's
I can
all we
leave
can
Nigeria,
take.
but I choose to
Ejeki,
stay.
close the show, Yi Fadala.
Ladies and gentlemen, number 1 unavailable by Davido featuring Musa Keys.
We also have today's chef special.
Yo, shine, 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 shiny, yeah. Say recap done, and it's time for number 1 on the countdown. One of Nigeria's hottest artists right now, his name is Rema, and this one is called Charm. Kick it.
Another.
For dessert and a bit of nightcap, we have the nighttime and online specials.
I want to start the gym, yeah? But do you know one thing that's actually keeping me back?
You should start the gym to get fat. Cricket.
She says she does show dancing.
Thanks for staying with us. On this segment, we'll be commemorating Down Syndrome Month. Joining us on the show is a special needs advocacy expert and parent of a Down syndrome child, Tonye Falui Ezekiel. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Good to have you. You can join the conversation again on 081-0764-1671, 090-2416-3440. You can also send us tweets on X and send us messages on YouTube. It's so great to have you here because, I mean, before you came in, we discussed stuttering, and you know, these are also issues that that kids, some children go through. And we know that Down syndrome also is an important state of being that lots of children are involved with, and parents, they feel ill-equipped to help these children in business. So let us come to you on why you started this advocacy and how you've been handling it since you have a child.
Yeah, so first of all, thanks for having me. This is like a bucket list, so take it along today. No, you're doing a great job on this show, and my husband and I are fans, so it's great to be here.
To him.
But I'm actually a parent of a girl with Down syndrome, and that's really why I'm here, right? So it's through my own experience in raising her and struggling, seriously struggling, and realizing that, okay, what is out there? What is her life going to be like? Because you have this child and you're told, I'm sorry your child has Down syndrome. You know, most mothers are given the diagnosis at birth. So imagine you pushed this baby, your most vulnerable point, your most vulnerable, and someone comes to you and says, I'm sorry, your child has Down syndrome. Rather than not, they should be saying congratulations for your beautiful baby boy, baby girl who has Down syndrome. It's just the slightest change, but puts parents on a different path. You get told what your child won't be able to do. Your child will not walk. Your child will not talk. Your child won't go to school. Your child can't do this. So people are already speaking negatives into your child's future. And I'm flipping that. Because for parents with Down syndrome, it's an absolute joy and a blessing to have a child with Down syndrome. They're not always happy. They're like everybody else, have your good days or your bad days, but they're born with a capacity for love that is just beyond anything I've ever known. And so for my daughter Simone, when she walks into a room, she lights up the place. You know now. She lights up everyone. She greets everyone. And that person that's just scowling suddenly is overcome with light. So it's a real blessing. It's a challenge. Yes, but it's a huge blessing, more than a challenge.
Even for parents with normal babies, as I would not that they are abnormal, there's a fear of what the world would do to your baby. You know, babies are vulnerable, they're your loved ones, and you're wondering how will the next person, if I close my eyes, if I were to sleep and close my eyes, how even will my sister, you know, take care of my baby? Not to talk of, you know, when you have a baby with special needs. How do you see schooling for her? How do you see socializing for her?
Interaction.
You know, how does she bond with her cousins?
So when a child is born with Down syndrome, the first and most important advocate is the family, is the parents. You know, and unfortunately in our culture, it's difficult because of traditions, about myths. People think, oh, you must have done something, your village people have cursed you, something like that. That's all nonsense, absolute nonsense. So it's about your advocacy for your child before they can advocate for yourself. They have a right to go to school. They have a right for equality, equanimity, and not only for them to have a seat at the table, but for them to have the ability to voice what they need and have a right that every other child, every other adult has, because they can be responsible, they can marry, they can have children, they can have careers and be upstanding, contributing members to society. So if early on you have the attitude of can, okay, you might not have the ability to be financially there to pay for speech and language pathologists, right? But we're in a day and age where we have a lot of access to information on the internet, on YouTube. You can go on these platforms, you can find what you need, and it's everyday work. Everybody's working, everybody's struggling in this economy. But 5-10 minutes consistently every day working with your child can make a difference. Early intervention is key. early interventions, the years from 0 to 5, 0 to 6, and that's when the brain is most spongy. It can absorb the most information. You do most of your learning at that time. Doesn't mean you don't learn afterwards. You still do. And children's brains are still very spongy. But in terms of I don't want to say deficit, but the hard work that you have to put in, because they do not have the normal milestones. They do not sit up by 6 months, or they cannot raise their neck. So you have to do that work. It's like going to the gym and working the muscles, right? So we have to help them work those muscles in fine motor skills, which is, you know, your small skills with your hands, in gross motor skills, which is your big muscles, in working these muscles, speech and language. Play is their friend. You know, all children, whether they have Down syndrome or not, must play. Play is one of the strongest learning tools for children. So when you see a child, after 1 minute, the child is shifting, and you're like, can't you sit still? They actually cannot sit still because their brain are building the neural pathways. Yeah. And so that repetition, you're like, why are they saying this thing 20 times? But it's because of the importance of that to building the brain structure.
So Toya, I love that you are a voice for you know, children with Down syndrome, and also parents who are mothering these children. Because the truth is, you know, before I met you, a few years, especially when we were growing up, we have family members or friends who had children or siblings who were living with Down syndrome, and we knew that these were the children that they put away. You know, they would hide, and there was always a sense of shame because they had that child. And sometimes there's this particular family friend of ours who had a sibling. I'd never known about this sibling, and one day I walk into their house unannounced and I see this sibling. It was obvious, of course, because there's some features, you know, and I could see my friend. I felt that ended our friendship. It was like you saw this part of our family that no one is allowed to see. And I felt like, you know, growing now older in hindsight, I'm like, it's because they did not have the tools. They didn't know what to do. But then I see your daughter and I'm like, what did you learn? When did you learn it? What are the things? Can you just, because you know, I know that there's so many people watching right now, and they have just been told, I'm sorry that your child has Down syndrome, and they're thinking, then this is the end of my life. But I've seen what you've done with Simone. She's such an amazing child. What did you do? You know, and how, yes, because some people, as you said, financial issues, and like, what can we hear from you to help us raise our child that we have just been given?
I think the first message to anybody, especially those who have just got this huge diagnosis, right, is it's not the end of the world. That's the first thing. It's not the end of the world. Like every child, they need love. For me, I didn't get the diagnosis until she was 4.5 months. So we'd already bonded. I had it in the US, they missed it in the US. We passed through the UK, because I'm a Brit also. They missed it in Britain. It was our Nigerian doctors that actually diagnosed her. So me, I don't play with Nigerian doctors, because if not for Nigerian doctors, my daughter would not be alive today. Because after that, you have an echocardiogram, because about 40 to 60% of babies with Down syndrome are born with a cardiac defect, right? A congenital heart defect. And hers was like the worst. And because of that delay, she was in heart failure. They gave her 6 months to live. So first, before we could even think about dealing with the Down syndrome, we had to deal with the heart problem and keep her alive. So 3 years I was out with her. My son and husband was here. But 3 years, it was hard, but she was there. So when we came back, reunited as a family, I really went through a bad depression. You know, I think I hadn't really thought about it, hadn't really dealt about it, but also because I had a great career before, and then I went into kind of saving her, mum mode, and then suddenly that's gone, everything is fine, and kids are doing their thing, she's settled, her brother's settled, well, everybody, and I'm like, what am I going to do? What's this? Existential crisis, full on. And then I just wrote a story about a conversation that my son and I had, where he couldn't understand why these quote-unquote people who come to the house to play with Simone, that they won't let him also join. And then I explained, okay, he was about 5 at the time. I had to explain to a toddler what Down syndrome is, okay. Your sister has something called Down syndrome. These people that come are play therapists, they're therapists. What's Down syndrome? Okay, Down syndrome is when you have an extra chromosome. What's a chromosome? So I did a terrible job. But from that, I began to write the story of that conversation, how I wished it went. And that is what changed everything. That gave me a kind of a catharsis and a journey and a realization that I'm not the only one going through this, and that other people needed help as well. So it was a friend of mine, she's an actress, Missy Molu, who also has a son with Down syndrome, who encouraged me to publish. But I hit a lot of challenges, I hit a lot of prejudice. Publishers didn't just reject me, they rejected me with full chest and wickedness, saying that I should be ashamed of myself for doing children's book like this. Which sane parent is going to buy this for their child? But lo and behold, I'm on my 5th book now. I have a publisher. We're out, new book.
Yeah, that was really...
Yeah, so it's based on my kids. Because I felt that, okay, children are really open, right? So when my daughter was going to her first school, the children were interested. And I realized these kids love my daughter, they love my son. My son's always popular wherever he goes. But you're never quite sure what is going to happen with that child that is different. And because it's Down syndrome and she looks different, what is that going to reception? But I find that everywhere she goes, she's really popular. So our stories are universal. So I wanted to create a universal story, number one, that features a black family. We're not animals. We're not featured as animals. We're featured as a typical Nigerian family, which is rare to see a black family. And my books are the first with a black main character with Down syndrome worldwide. And that's what set us on this journey, the Ugo and Simpson books. And then came, okay, I suppose I should probably do a foundation or a platform. But I didn't want to do, there's people doing great work already. There's Down Syndrome Foundation Nigeria. There's more Rainbow Foundation Nigeria who focus on Down syndrome, and they have their locations. But the power of storytelling is amazing. And I thought, okay, if I can create these stories, target market is children. Children will do the advocacy work for me.
Okay. Yeah. Let me ask you a question. So I know that with kids with Down syndrome, most of they always have special skill sets. So how were you able to pinpoint, to discover what was Simpson's special skill set and to build on it? And know how can parents, that have that mothering or parenting kids like that, be able to identify what their kids are good at and hone those skills?
I think like any other child, you have to allow your child to be exposed to different things and try different things. My focus has been on what can I get her to do that will help her with her speech and language, or with social skills, or with her fine motor skills. A couple of years ago, I started her with art. The founder of Chocolate City, Paul Okeugo, has a son with autism, and his wife is a very strong advocate. And I noticed that art was really their thing. So they encouraged me. They said, try art. I said, yes, actually, because it will help her with all the movement needed for handwriting. And this girl just took to it. Wow. And now she's a signed artist with the Children's Art Gallery. Wow. If people want to buy her paintings, she's collaborated with my sister, who's an artist, on these lamps that she paints. And really, I just need to allow her to grow, to find her way, to encourage her and challenge her at the same time. I think with these children, we tend to be like, oh, they've got Down syndrome, they can't do that. No, challenge them, push them, work with them every day, get to know your child so you can know their strengths, because it's in their strengths that you can find those things.
We're talking this morning about some parents overcompensating in children, in raising their kids.
Yeah.
I have a blind friend, and he used to say that his mom never sent him. He went to normal school. She will tell him, take your money, make sure you get him. She made sure he survived. He's in his 40s now. And so he's learned to cope. How do you train, how are you planning to raise her to
be independent?
Take a BRT, for instance, go out, how to deal with the bullies if they do come, how to help herself do her bath, do normal life.
So that's a really great question, and it's a question that's so important. Number one is that I never hide her, to begin with, right? You'd be shocked that she's the first black person with Down syndrome I ever saw. I didn't know black people got Down syndrome. So number one is I'm never ashamed. I wear it as a badge of honor. So the world must make space for her. They must. And I'm there to make sure that they do. Number one, she knows she's fine.
She's a pretty one.
She's very pretty and she knows it. So confidence. So she will try to manipulate you. And you have to let her know, no, me, I'm the Margaret Thatcher here. You know? You listen to what I have to say, but her confidence in herself, and she wants to put confidence in other people. So she goes to a neurotypical school now, although I pulled her out of a neurotypical
What does that mean?
school. Okay, so it's a normal school. I stay away from the use of normal, because what is normal? I know I'm not normal, you know? So it's standardized, neurotypical versus neurodivergent, but we truly live in a neurodiverse world, right? None of us here have the same brain. So in that difference, we're all neurodiverse. So our world is neurodiverse. And so we need to kind of widen that scope. But just because you send your child to a normal school, quote unquote, doesn't mean you should take your eyes off the ball.
Good.
We have this tendency here in Nigeria to say, you know, you've handed your child over to the nanny. You've handed them over to the school. Oh, my work is done. My dear, your work is just starting. You must be on it. You must know what they're doing in class, know what is happening, know what is happening in therapy. If they're doing therapy at the school, what are the goals they're setting for your child? Well, they're just putting your child there, and it's so nice to say we're inclusive, but they actually haven't even adapted or accommodated the education for your child. So you have to be on it. Then you have to reinforce what they're doing in school or in therapy at home. So it's a kind of a jigsaw puzzle. In the same way, autism, you know, the logo is a jigsaw. It's the same thing, that all these different moving parts that need to work together for the benefits and the betterment of your child.
There's somebody listening to you now saying that Down syndrome is for the rich, because as a poor person, if my child gets Down syndrome, I'd rather kill the child than go home because I don't have the resources. I don't have the resources to find a school to help my child.
Therapy.
I don't have the family support. We're just struggling. So it's something which folks can deal with. I can't deal with.
Let me even add something culturally, where in fact there are a number of families that will say that sometimes fathers leave when they realize that the child has been diagnosed.
When you talked about existential crisis earlier, I'm thinking, okay, there are people going through that right now, and they're depressed, and they don't have the options.
Yeah.
So what would you tell them?
So I'm very blessed. I come from, you know, a well-off father, and we're doing okay as a family, but I can identify and I talk to people who are from low-income strata, and really it's about the will. Because even if you're financially able, are you in the geographic location? So some people have to have the money to move their entire family. What if you don't have that money? What if you're somewhere where you just don't have that access? But again, it comes to the will. If you love that child and you want to help them, you learn. You have to educate yourself about the diagnosis of your child. You have to learn the techniques of which you can implement in your home if you don't have capacity to pay, because it's expensive. When we came back, we were broke. 3 years in America and England, healthcare, we were broke. We relied on our community to assist us. But you have to put away your pride. If you want to help your child, you have to be humble. You know, for me, it was, yes, you know, it was a real life lesson God taught me in this. It changed my life. You have to put that pride aside because you need the help for your child. So you have to build that community. It may not be your family. Your family may reject you and your child. Your husband may reject you, or your wife may reject you, or both parents may abandon the child, and you are adopting this child with Down syndrome. First of all, love. That's it. They can feel that. Once there's love, you can achieve it.
I love that. Let me pause you for a second because the caller holding. Toby, thanks for calling. You're live.
Good morning,
Good
Mariah.
morning.
First time caller.
Welcome to the show.
I have a Down syndrome baby.
Okay.
One of my twins was diagnosed like it was 3 months lost.
Okay.
So I took him for something and they were like, he has Down syndrome. I said, no, God forbid. I was so depressed when I read about the stuff, and I was like, what things? How will he cope with the twins brother? But now I think with the twins brother, he's doing very much. And then I'm trying to learn so many things to help him. And it's going to be 3 months next month. And the two of them are going to be 3 months next month. So with the help of their sister and the twins brother, he's coping, he's even trying.
That's 3 months.
So he's in school now. He's in school now, and
3
he's
months?
doing very well.
3 months?
3 years.
Oh, 3 years.
3 years. I'll say the school.
3 years, okay. Okay.
And he just started school, 3 years. He just started this September.
Thank you very much, Toby. Let me let you help her because she's just 3 years. How many years have you done this?
9.
9 years. So are there things you like to give, some tips you like to give her in this 3-year stage?
Yes, I'd like to commend her, firstly. It's amazing that you have the twins because there's one that's neurotypical and one that's Down syndrome. Siblings, the power of siblings is huge. Ugo is like, God gave me that child first because he knew the child that was coming. And so siblings in a family are what we find over the past few years of the foundation, speaking to people both internationally and here and families. Siblings are their teachers. Siblings are their example. Siblings are their protectors. And siblings offer them guidance. And so you have to be careful not to put too much on their siblings, right? Because you don't want to burden them. But you do have to make them aware of their responsibility because at some point, we as parents will not be here.
Yeah.
We won't be here. So our role is to make these children as independent as possible, but also make sure they have a community that's with them for life.
The caller made Mariah shocked when she was mistaking 3 months for 3 years. And I'm wondering, somebody has to compromise normal life to raise a special need child. Even the children we have that we say they don't, we give up something. There's one parent who has to give up something. You know, you mentioned how it affected you when you left your career and started raising kids. Let's discuss the important issue here. At what cost would you protect and care for this child? You know, is something going to give? Can you balance it? They say this is not like that. Can you balance it with your normal career? Like, is it possible?
So it's extremely difficult. I think as I got older, I've become a little bit more traditional. Oh gosh, I don't even know what I'm going to say right now. But really, I think we have to speak truth to ourselves, right? It's all well and good. You see all these Hollywood and Nollywood movies that says you can have it all. You know, you cannot have it all. Pick your heart. What is it you want? What are the outcomes? What do you need to do for that outcome? And you have to speak truth to yourself. I knew that even though people are offering me nice jobs to do all the trash reality show I used to do, it wasn't for me again, right? What are my priorities? It's been hard because it's been financially harder, and families that have children with disabilities, our spend is 30 to 50% more than the average family. Yet there's really no support, right? Even if you say you go to the bank and they have there's no product to support special needs families. There's no guidance in that. So you kind of left doing it on your own, but you pick what you can do. Unfortunately, you know, you do have to go to work. And some parents do have to go to work and still manage this. So it's about building that support for those children when you're at work, but you have to be clued in. It might mean dropping your social life, but I would say that it's something I've had to learn in the past year. because I don't want to die here, is that self-care is really important. Self-care, because if I'm not okay, the rest of my family is not okay, right? So I find that every day I need time for me. That time for me is workout. 6 days a week I work out. Oh. For me, that's my mental zone. I get out all my anger, I work out. But it's great for your body. But for me, it's that mental thing that just calms me down and focus. So you have to find space for yourself as a special needs parent, as a parent of a child with Down syndrome. And you have to insist on that. Because we always are doing for everybody else, but we don't want to do for ourselves.
So you mentioned that you have run a foundation. Mm-hmm. How long has that foundation been?
So officially a year.
Okay.
Unofficially about 4 years.
All right.
So I came up with it like.
Okay. So sorry, let me just so I can finish the question. Then give you the stage. So so I want you to tell us that, and then tell us the specific support that that foundation targets. For kids with Down syndrome.
Sure. So I always say that I'm just a mom, which I am, right? My life and career my career is for my life, My life has given me purpose, This child has given me purpose. And so everything is intertwined. The foundation, what we work on, is directly because of what is going on or what I've noticed from my own personal experience. So, like I said, we're not the typical foundation. We have the books, so we do readings, we go out there, we advocate with the books and content. We have songs and animations on our YouTube channel. So schools actually use our Nigeria 36 States song to teach the states of Nigeria. Hopefully they don't make it 37 states. But it's also a cool way for teachers to initiate that dialogue, and what you find is some of the kids already know the characters, so it starts this discourse within the classroom, right? I don't want to preach at people. I want people to discover. That's one. Then, in line with an earlier question, and also my experience, are two things we're working on right now. One is the Black Child Down Syndrome Project. So we are collaborating with Miss Anne Harriman. So he was nominated for an Academy Award this year. He's Nigerian, and he's the first black photographer for the September issue of Vogue in the UK. And we're doing a project, we're collaborating with other people like me, but they're in the UK. And we're featuring 9 black children with Down syndrome, including my daughter, in a photography exhibition, and their parents in a documentary, because just to raise awareness about the importance of being seen.
Wow, love it.
Here, they were hidden. In the UK, it was only Oyibo. So we want to kind of highlight that. The other is something I think the both of you were touching on, is about growing up, that independence, right? Puberty is coming. Yeah. How do I teach my daughter about the changes that are going to happen to their body? How do I teach her how to take care of herself, keep herself clean? And then how do I keep her safe? Because UNICEF, I think last week, the day of the girl child, I don't know if you read that report, but that report was scary in what happens to girls in the sub-Saharan region. And that didn't even look at girls with intellectual disabilities. So if you look at the statistics for intellectual disabilities, women with intellectual disabilities and assault, it's 83%. Over half of that is multiple. We have to take it back to how do we educate? Yes, inclusive education, but it's education adapted for...
Are there success stories? Because sometimes when somebody has that Down syndrome situation, they're thinking, okay, are there people with Down syndrome that are married? Are there people with Down syndrome that have children? Is this hereditary? If I fall in love with a girl with Down syndrome, will we have children with Down syndrome? These are questions people are thinking in their head because they're confused. So do you have those answers, or you feel that it's not something that
nobody knows why Down syndrome happens. It's just something that happens. To this day, they don't know. It's not a disease. It's a chromosomal difference. So instead of 46 chromosomes, which most people are born with, you're born with 47, an extra one on the 21st pair, hence the medical name trisomy 21. And that's why the World Down Syndrome Day is March 21st, 3/21. I don't know, it went viral on social media about this Turkish dentist, or is it doctor, some time back, maybe last year. His father has Down syndrome, his mother is neurotypical. He's neurotypical and he's a doctor. So it kind of showed, oh wait, actually, people with Down syndrome can do anything. Yeah. Right now, I think in South America, there's a lawyer with Down syndrome. In the US, Miss Teen USA is a young lady with Down syndrome. Mm-hmm. One of the highest Olympic medalists is a lady with Down syndrome. Yeah. So it's really about, unfortunately, we are the ones that place the limitations on them. Because if we put that work in them, they will find their gift. Fly. They will fly.
May I have the last question?
Okay, the last question. I'm waiting. I wanted to ask about Ugo, her brother. Mm-hmm. You know, you talked about their siblings also mm-hmm. being like their guide. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I talk about the mother, the self-care that she gets. Does he get, is there any point where he feels overwhelmed by what's happening? And what care does he get for himself in such a way also that he doesn't feel guilty, but that you recognize that he must have some feelings, and how do you help him?
Most definitely. I wouldn't say necessarily he gets overwhelmed, mm-hmm. but sometimes he feels that she takes all the attention out of the room.
Okay.
Right? And he's a fine boy. Mm-hmm. But he is also just the sweetest person, kindest heart. If he sees someone struggling, he goes to help. That's his immediate instinct. We make separate time, me and him, to be together. It's important that he has his own QT, quality time, separate from his siblings. So we go and do our own thing. We spend our own time. I make sure I invest my personal time more in him than Simone, because she has a number of people that help her out, including...
Let's talk about your husband, his father. Or
the Finest is his nickname.
Let's talk about your husband for a second, because a lot of Nigerian men would not stay in that situation, or they get confused, and they just choose to...
They don't even help.
They don't even help. Or they go, let's keep the baby. Okay, that's your problem. I'm not, you know. So how did he come to terms with it, and how is he supporting? Maybe some men are listening to you right now and think, okay, maybe I can help my wife in this way. So what does he do, and how does he support you?
I think it's important because the dialogue is often that, the man will run.
Yeah.
So he's a testimony in that not all men run. And not only that, not all men don't do nothing and just expect you to do. He's very active in it. His journey has been very different. I married my best friend, and that really helps. So once all the lovey-dovey goes, at the end of the day, we are mates. He's like my guy. Yeah, exactly. And plus, he's 6'4.5" and really good looking. He's gonna hate that I'm saying this all now. But he was always there.
Yeah.
He has always been supportive. He doesn't always understand that we have to go out and talk. But he gets it. Last week, when my daughter was on your sister's show, Wake Up Nigeria, I asked his permission because I didn't want to assume, right? And he was willing, because not that he was happy, he was uncomfortable with it, but he understood the work that has to be done and the importance of her being seen. His journey has been different. It's been quieter. And it's harder for men to get support because there are less safe spaces for them to speak. I am very lucky to, because of the advocacy, have met other very active fathers and been able to link him with them. Yeah, so for the first time, he was able to talk to another father about his journey. And it was only very recently that he said, you know what, I think I'm open to speaking about this. I'm willing to speak. He's been supportive all the way through. She's got him wrapped around his her
little finger.
Only imagine. You know, the way she looks and everything. But he has been the most wonderful. I have two. He has, but it's 3 altogether. His first is in America with her mother.
And so thank you so much, Tony.
Thanks for having me.
I mean, we're wishing you all the best, and your daughter and your son, and your entire family. Well done. And hopefully, we're looking forward to the Vogue. Send us pictures.
So we will be launching that in the UK at a gallery called Hope 93. Aki Abiola has given us his gallery. And you can find us, Simone's Oasis, on all social media. Our new website is coming up soon. And you can support us from the website as well once it's up.
YouTube.
Thank you very much. And that's all we can take on today's show. Hope you learned a few things as we have. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.
Bye.